You know, like in Photoshop or other editing softwares where you can invert the colors and everything looks kind of weird and ghost-like and teeth and eyes are all black. Yeah, I'm gonna try to draw myself just like that. Hello everyone and welcome to my new desk background and to my first video of 2018. Happy New Year! As some of you may know, I usually start the new year with a self-portrait and talking about my art goals and such, and one of my goals for this year is to make more fun and interesting content for my channel, so I thought it was fitting to start with a challenge because challenges are fun, right? Also, if you have any requests or suggestions for things to review, challenges to make, or just other things that you would like to see on my channel this year, let me know in the comments below. I always appreciate your suggestions and feedback. I wanted to try out this opposite color challenge for a while now, and I call it a challenge because it isn't something that I would normally do. I have no idea if anyone else has done this before. I'm pretty sure someone has, but I haven't really seen any videos or anything. I know I've seen people doing inverted drawings on Instagram though. And the thing about the annual self-portrait, it is kind of like a way for me to keep track of my art style, what has changed and how do I see myself at that moment. I don't know, it is just a thing I started doing a couple of years ago and it kind of stuck with me. And some of you may wonder, what the heck is opposite colors, or the complementary colors as it's also called? It is the colors that are opposite to each other in the color wheel, like green and red are opposite, blue and orange, black and white are opposite, and so on. And that is why I'm drawing on this black paper, just to save me some time. And all the supplies that I'm using in this video will be listed down in the info box below if you're curious, but I'm mainly using Faber-Castell polychromos color pencils and gouache paint. So my goal here is to make this look like a real actual portrait when I invert the colors back to normal again. And I first thought that, well, it can't be that hard, I will just pick a blue and color the face. Well, duh, it is of course more advanced than that. When coloring the skin the normal way, you can get a bit lazy because you know what skin looks like and what tones that works and what looks more yellowish and pinkish and so on, because you can see it directly. But it is very hard to predict what the colors will look like when they are inverted. Depending on what blue you're using for the face, for example, you can get a very different tone from what you first intended. So I picked a couple of blues that I thought looked quite similar to the reference that I'm using, but it turned out that they were way off, so I realized I had to use some sort of help here to guide me toward the correct colors. So I actually downloaded an app that would allow me to see the colors inverted, and I know it sounds like cheating, but I didn't use this all the time, of course, then it wouldn't be a challenge, but I used it just to check that I used sort of the right colors, and even using this to help me, it still wasn't very easy, because when inverting the colors, my color pencil box that usually has a bunch of brown and red tones suddenly got very limited, and all the red tones turned into these greenish bluish teal tones, and the few greenish teal colors that I had was now the only ones that I could use for my hair, for example, because my hair is red and it would be blue when inverted, so, or greenish teal, which was very interesting. I didn't thought the palette would be that different when inverting it. So in this challenge I learned to really look at the reference. As I mentioned, I can get kind of lazy and not look at the reference properly because I think I know where the highlights and the shadows are placed, and I think I know what skin tones to use. And sometimes it works, but most of the times I think it could have looked better if I had followed the reference more closely. Here I had to think backwards because it isn't just the colors that are opposite, the light is opposite too, the shadows are lighter and the highlights are darker, so leaving a very dark spot on the paper is representing making a highlight and vice versa. So I had to really study the reference to achieve the highlights and the shadows in the right places to get some sort of contrast, but I think it went a lot better than I first expected and I'm actually very happy with how it's turning out. So let's talk a little about my plans and goals for 2018. I'm just gonna mention last year real quick too, before turning to a new page, so to speak. 2017 was the year when both a lot of things and nothing still really happened. It makes no sense, but that is how it feels. It wasn't a terrible year, but it wasn't super great either. I learned a lot about myself though, and how I want to live, and hopefully I will get to practice what I learned this year. I think I did a lot more mental than practical progress last year. I worked a lot on myself and my art suffered a bit from that, I think. I also felt very burnt out at the last part of the year, and it was the first time I had serious thought about actually quitting YouTube. And I mentioned in my last video that this fall, or last fall, was very strange and heavy and grey, but now during the holidays I've had some time to breathe and to figure out how to make things more fun and get a better balance between YouTube and my full-time job, and it feels like a new fresh start and I'm excited to continue making videos. So one of my greater art achievements last year was actually participating every day of Inktober. It doesn't sound like much, but the fact that I didn't lose interest and I pulled through for all the 31 days makes me a little proud of myself. I made a lot of progress in my digital art too because of all the tablet reviews that I made. It may not be my most popular videos, but I had a lot of fun making them and working more digitally. My traditional art didn't develop that much since, as I mentioned, I focused on other things that I thought felt more important. So my goals for this year would be to draw more, and I think every artist ever have said that, but I want my art to actually develop now because it's been kind of stagnant for the past years or so, I think. I have two Moleskine or Moleskine sketchbooks that I want to fill up, a normal one and a watercolor one, and I've started on both of them, so hopefully you will see a sketchbook tour sometime this year. I want to get more loose and relaxed in my sketching and not care too much about making mistakes. I'm better at it now, I think, but it could be even better because, as Bob Ross said, it is just happy little accidents. I've been thinking about doing the Sketchbook Slam challenge, but it seems like a really time-consuming project. Perhaps a lighter version though, with a smaller sketchbook, would be more doable. I want to try out more different art mediums, but I also want to pick a few of them and settle with them. I feel like if I'm gonna develop my art and art style even more, I need to start practicing more with a few specific art mediums. Markers are one of my favorites, but also color pencils, watercolors, acrylic, ink, and so on. There are so many, so I will see if I can work more with some specific art mediums. Regarding my YouTube channel, last year wasn't a very good YouTube year for me, at least not the last 6 months or so. So as I mentioned in the beginning, I want to have more fun and interesting projects and content, both fun for me to make, but also for you to watch, of course. I have some things planned already and I'm really excited to show it to you, and I hope you will enjoy them. And I hope you enjoy this challenge too. I used gouache at the end since I think the color pencils didn't turn out as opaque as I wanted in some spots, and it is easier mixing your own colors with paint. which made me very curious to try out a full gouache piece on darker paper. It looks so amazing, and I think this portrait looks so bright and pretty. I love the blue with the pink and orange. Let me know how you think I did and what you think of this challenge. But yeah, I think that is all I had to say for now. If you have any art goals or goals in general for this year that you want to share with us, write a comment down below and we can pep each other. I rarely achieve all of my goals, but it feels nice having some plans to follow for a little while at least. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Keep drawing, my happy cat. Bye!